exemption, then you couldn't go to 1250.
So we could advertise at,
You could advertise for 1500 and go
advertise
down
the biggest
something.
possible thing there is and then go down.
Yeah, yes. And if you're changing the cap, I think the same thing. You know, advertise a larger cap and then.
But I mean, based on what she said, our goal, or at least, you know, my goal was to make sure that as many people as possible would be able to apply for this tax reduction. So,
But based on what she's telling us, that it's not going to affect anybody new, and if you raised it to 1,000 and went to 40,000 for the max income, you're exactly. She's to expand the net. It sounds like it's. I mean, to make it any bigger is a bridge too far.
Well, 40,000, I think you could go from 1,000 to, and because now it's 800.
Correct.
Go to 1,000 and 40,000.
Right.
And it's basically a $9,600 increase, or is that including the $35,000 cap?
that's probably not-
$9,600 here is that take consideration of $35,000?
That was just.
I think it's.
That was just 1,000, from 800 to 1,000.
Okay, it's just 1,000.
That's correct.
So
Her recommendation was to 12.5.
No, it's
no,
1,000.
to raise the income.
okay.
Raise it to 1,000 and go from 35 to 40.
Yes, that's what she's recommending.
I mean, if that's what she's recommending, she's done the analysis, why don't we
That's
just
why I say move it.
advertise that and move forward with it, and at least we could, because you're going to 40,000 from 35, and we're going from 800 to 1,000.
And that's her recommendation.
And that's her recommendation.
And to me, that's capturing what we talked about earlier.
More people, right,
into the
right.
program.
I make a motion that we.
Because, I don't mean.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I thought you were done.
We have one of the highest as far as acreage is concerned. And I realize Hanover has it, and Louisa has it, 10-acre parcel. But you take Orange, they have a 2-acre limit. They cap it at 2 acres. Dinwiddie has 5 acres, and some of these others have 1 acre and a lot 1 acre and 1 acre. Hanover and Louisa, the only two in the area that have a 10-acre limit, if you will. So I mean, it's a pretty.
I think it's
that's
the
pretty
max
liberal.
benefit.
Yeah, that's pretty liberal. I mean,
And I was gonna say, I'll make a motion that we advertise the $40,000 with a maximum of $1,000 allowance for public hearing.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second that we would advertise at the rate that's recommended by the commissioner, which would raise it to 40,000.
And a cap of 1,000.
And a cap of 1,000. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the motion carries. Thank you. All right, that takes us to new business, an update on the county water system to Caroline Pines. Mr. Shebel.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board.
Good evening, sir.
I was asked to provide a brief update on the Caroline Pines water system. September 1 of this year marks the 3-year completion of the 652 waterline extension to Caroline Pines and the commencement of operation of that system. At this time, we have had 16 water main breaks and 20 service line breaks for a total of 36 breaks over the 36-month period that we've had to fix. We've averaged 9 the first year, 15, and then this year we're at 12. Total expenses that we've spent to date on the repairs is $11,735.55. $4,200 of that in round numbers was towards the repair, as well as $7,400 went to the labor. The majority of the breaks are a result of the freezing and thawing, as well as a defective altitude valve that controls the pressure reducing valve that's for the lower part of the system. We did have an issue with that. The $2,000 availability fee that each of the residents were allowed to be able to pay back interest-free over 60 months, we have now collected 34 months of that, and 53 residents have totally paid off their loan to date. We've collected $635,739.22. The total that we expect to collect is $1,060,000 of revenue. The water quality in Lake Caroline, of Caroline Pines has improved drastically due to us taking over. The wells that they have all been removed off of line, and we have turned them back over to the Homeowners Association for them to dispose of by the Health Department standards. Due to the improved water quality, we've noted from the first year of us taking over the system now to our third year, an increase in usage as well, which we expected. A lot of people wouldn't drink the water. A lot of people would not wash their clothes. So we've actually seen an increase of 21 gallons per day on average per resident there of additional usage. We get into the page 3, gives you just a map of the service area. Page 4 is a breakdown of every place that we've had a leak. We keep this map updated to try to assist us as we get ready to start replacing lines, to look at the areas that we know that are troubled. And as you can see, the area near the clubhouse on Shannon Mill is one of the areas, and as well as Summer Drive down in the bottom are the areas that we've had major issues, and most of the breaks have occurred. If you look, each break, our estimated cost is about $303 per break. It's not a significant cost on those. Page 5 and 6 are breakdowns of each individual repair and the cost associated with those. Page 7 gets into the proposed replacement program of how we would replace lines. And that's just kind of out there so you can kind of remember as we talk about the service district fee and what we need to look at. We have discussed, and the board still has the option of putting that on at any time, but we've discussed waiting till the 61st month to start that. And looking at those, we're looking at about $19.47 or about 12.5 cents on the tax rate in that district in order to generate the money to be able to start those repairs. And then page 8 is just a graph of the water usage in the Caroline Pines, which basically shows you from the start of operation to today, and as you can see the usage continue to increase as we've continued. With that, I'll be glad to answer any questions that the board may have.
Board members have questions for Mr. Shebel? Mr. Black?
Just a refresher, and thank you, this is really good, by the way, really good. But I just got a question as far as when we took over the system, yours, you have a scheduled, we're replacing pipes in there gradually, is that correct?
We will, once we start collecting the money to be able to do that. Right now, we're just collecting enough money to pay the availability fee, which is help offsetting the debt service on extending the line to Caroline Pines. Once that's done...
how much time does that have left?
We're at 34 months. It's a total of 60.
Okay. All right. And then from there?
From that point, the board would need to decide we would put a fee on, and we need to, eventually we need to determine whether we're going to do that through a fee through the bill or whether we're going to do that through the taxes. And once that's determined of where that would be, we would start collecting that money. We would start designing in the third year and hoping to go to construction on that first phase within the 5th year. And then basically every 5 years we'd be doing a new project with the money that we have.
Other questions? Other questions? Not, thank you very much, Mr. Shebel. We appreciate your time. Very good report. That takes us to informational calendar item.
No, 5A.
Oh, I'm sorry, 5A. I'm sorry.
Mr. Chairman,
okay.
we had a contract with Federal Engineering as our radio design folks before I got here, and we still have some money that's unexpended on that, but the actual contract needs to be extended, and we would like to use them for a little bit of help right here at the end of the project as we are doing testing and system cutover and things. I think they'd be helpful as an independent review of things that Motorola is doing to make sure that we're getting what the contract requires. And so we would ask that you extend the contract with Federal.
To December?
December 31st, 2016.
Okay.
Do we think that'll be the end of what we need at this point? Because I'm still, are we any further with leaf testing? Because as we look, I'm not sure we're getting to the second week in October.
Oh, I agree. We're working, we've actually talked to Federal, even though we don't have an exact contract. It was, and so we're working on a process to work with Motorola, and we have a Motorola meeting Thursday team meeting, so we're going to broach that with the Motorola folks as well. But we're coming up, hopefully, with a plan that will be acceptable to Motorola. It may require a change order contractually because they don't like changing things in their documents without that. So we'll probably be bringing that back to you as well. But yes, we are skeptical that we're at full foliage this late.
Okay, so we need a motion to...
Mr. Chairman, question, do we have access to the same consultants, or are they going to give us a new consultant?
It's
I know
Dave
it's a
Muniz.
contract.
Dave Muniz.
We still have access to him?
Yes.
All right, in that case, okay.
Okay, so we need a motion to extend the amendment December 31st, 2016.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Been moved and properly second that the amendment be extended to December 31st, 2016. All in favor, let it know by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries unanimously. That takes us to informational calendar items.
Don't forget, tomorrow is the UCI bike race, so please try not to travel around on 30 or 301 south of 30. You'll probably get hung up in some traffic. State Fair starts Friday, runs through the following weekend through the 4th of October. There is a community forum, candidate forum, I imagine all of you have been invited to, on October 1st here in this building, 6:30. Port Royal has a charter day at 9 o'clock on the Saturday the 3rd, and Special Olympics soccer is at the rec park on that same date.
What time?
9 o'clock.
9 to 1. It's the
that
same
is
time
a
as the Port
great
Royal
event. I love that.
thing. Sparta Day is the 10th. I don't know the time on that. Columbus Day obviously is a state holiday, and we have a board meeting on the 13th. And then the Bowling Green Harvest Festival is the 17th, and then Frog Level Festival is the 31st, and the 27th, as always, our legislative get-together, 6 to 8:30 at RACSB at their building over across from the high school. And that's the same Tuesday we meet every year.
Okay. Closing arguments, Mr. Thomas?
Close argument, I like that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Closing comments, excuse me.
All right, just a couple, Mr. Chairman, and I'm not sure what county staff can do about this, but as we all know, construction has just begun at the high school, and it will be going on for at least 18 months. In November, we're going to use the entrance that was ruined by the construction for our polling place. So we'll be voting there. Since that is the Mattapan district, I figured I would ask the registrar myself how we plan to handle that. The registrar's here? Oh.
No, I'm pointing at the building official. We need to work together to make sure we can have access to the building some kind of way.
Well, we should have access to the building. The issue is the parking lot has been fenced off. And most of the entryway has been fenced off, so things will be a little different. Maybe we could get the contractor to back his fence up a little that day so that more people could park. It's going to be very bad because we have a lot of handicapped people that have to drive in and drive out, and right now there's no way to go in and out. So we'll have to do something with that. We may have to do something at our next meeting. And the last thing, and what Chief Loftus has discussed with the proposed new distribution center coming to Carmel Church, I would ask Mr. Cully if he would look at the CIP to see where we could insert the Carmel Church Fire Station, because with that building, we want to make sure we get our revenue from it. And that was it, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Can I add one thing while
Sure.
you're on the high school? It's not really our event, but we have $10,000 in it. The senior gala uses that whole area to get into that too. And I've been thinking about how in the world we're going to get in there for.
Well, we can get
all
them
those,
in from the backside.
Is there a way in that we can?
Yeah,
get from a
they can
parking-
use the bus
I know, but the
side.
parking lot for everybody else. I mean, we fill that parking. I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of people in that parking lot as well.
It's only half the parking lot.
But they can use the parking lot from the
Students still use the
backside.
parking lot.
I know, but it's just a lot further to get to the building for the
the
age of the
older-
folks that are
They
going.
can come in through the back park.
Yeah, they can come in through the back parking lot, and they'll just be in the hallway.
Right.
It is a longer walk, like you say, But it might be the same amount if they're parked 2 or 3 rows back normally.
Okay.
But the first thing that's gonna happen is,
Yeah,
election
first thing is
time.
election, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, that's not bad, but
Okay.
that was it, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Black?
Yeah, just one. Mr. Colley, I think what the gentleman, Mr. Shaw, talked to us about tonight, I think it's something that we need to really, I don't know if it could be, we can kind of start brainstorming about what we can do in this county to stop this, because it doesn't, the litter is not helping us at all, and it does look terrible, and I don't care where you're going, so, you know, maybe we can get some people together, come up with some ideas on what can possibly be done, talk to the sheriff's office, you know, just brainstorm some ideas what we can do. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Black. Mr. Underwood?
Mr. Chairman, just one comment along the lines of State Fair. I know that Ms. Jolliffe gave each board member several tickets to the State Fair. Certainly hope that you use those. State Fairs should be a great event, so come out and support the State Fair this week. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Akers?
I do, I have two. One is, you and I, Mr. Chairman, attended the grand opening, if you will, or certainly the dedication of the memorial park that was designed and built by the young man, Andrew Buck. If you recall, he was an Eagle Scout that came before this board some months ago, and I'm telling you, you often hear people talk about our young people in Caroline County. And it bothers me from a standpoint, our young people do a lot of amazing things. What Mr. Buck did with that memorial garden is absolutely amazing. It looks so nice. I mean, it really does. And he thought of the idea. I don't know that he did every single, well, I know he did not do all of the work because he had volunteers to help him, but he certainly saw the project through. And it's an extremely nice project. And so we need to recognize him as well for a job well done and something that needed to be done in Caroline County. The second was to pick up on what Mr. Black said. The county years ago had I think it was called a litter committee, but a litter committee, and that group did meet on a monthly basis, and they did talk about what could be done. And I think that's the best way. I don't know that the 6 of us can sit up here and come up with the solution and find the solution to a problem that's going to help the entire county. But if you have a committee that is drawn from throughout the county people, then I think you have a much better opportunity of getting some valuable input. And sometimes you get neighbors start to squeal on neighbors, if you will. They see them doing things that's not appropriate. So I like the idea, and I agree we need to do something, but I also like the idea of a committee of Caroline County citizens that will meet and discuss these issues. I don't think any of us think that we have all the answers, because we certainly do not. But I think if we pull in that brain trust that we have around us, we'll be much better off. That's it for me, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
I have nothing, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. I have only what Mr. Akers had said about the committee and Mr. Black as well. I think the first step might be to formulate a committee of people out of our districts and have them come up with some recommendations, and not just by themselves, though. Maybe they could meet with staff to begin with, to kind of give them some leadway as to what the problem is and how to address it. And certainly they would have input as well. And in the end, they may be able to just take it on their own. But to start with, if they could have someone from staff to be with them, and if board members could think of someone from their district that they would like to serve on that committee, and we could get that committee off and running as soon as possible, and hopefully we can get to the point where we can at least address some of those issues, because it's very real. And the only other thing is, again, Mr. Akers said again about Andrew, if we could prepare a resolution, maybe in our next meeting, to recognize him for the memorial park that he did, it was extremely nice. And I would urge, if board members haven't had a chance to go by and see it, maybe you might try to go by and look at it, because it's a beautiful park, and he did an extremely good job. That's all that I have. Or motion to adjourn is in order.
Second.
Moved and properly second that we would adjourn. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, we